So, with modern women, the epidemic is that even with birth control, we're getting more abortions than ever. If a girl gets an abortion, does that take her out of the wife category?
100%.
Why?
Million%.
No,
Million percent.
Why?
Complete moral misalignment.
Okay. Why? Zuby, it's a fetus.
No, I'm very, very strongly pro-life.
Tell me why.
No, absolutely not. Tell you why?
Yeah, why?
A woman who can happily kill her own child?
Mm-hmm. What if she was a victim of grape?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fewer than 1%.
No.
It's fewer than 1%. So let's talk about the 99%.
Yeah. Why is it that whenever a dude makes a point, we always got to bring up the exception as women?
It's not even a common exception.
Because that's quite a common thing for women to experience.
No, it's not.
What grape is?
It happens, but it's not common.
Grape
it's not grape.
Not necessarily pregnancy through grape, but grape in general is.
No, it's not. No, it's
that's
not.
my job. I deal with them clients every single day of the week.
What's the percentage looking like?
But that's I think that's because that's your job. That's your job, so you get to see them a concentration. But if you look in the whole of the UK, you see that.
But if
it's a minority.
I'm saying like if you look at stats, that's not true. It's not the majority of women. It's actually a very small percentage. Because otherwise we're just going off of he said, she said, and she can say anything.
If it was a majority, then most of these women...
Oh, no, I'm not saying the majority of women have experienced grape. I'm saying there's quite a large percentage of women that have experienced it.
But not statistically. It's not the large majority. Well, it's a very small minority.
I'm not going to lie to you, just being super real and understanding about the life that we're trying to live now and what like the status of the world is. I mean, as long as you're willing to deal with the consequences of your choices, my friend, save yourself and save your child, because sometimes you get into an accident with somebody that is definitely not the man that you need to be having a child with, and you're definitely not in the right space of mind. So instead of you putting like a child into your chaotic world, just, be more responsible.
Kill it instead.
It's not kill it, but like before it gets to a stage where it's like super gone, like you at the end of the day, now you got the option of like taking a little bit of control. If that puts bad energy into the universe, deal with the consequences. But at the end of the day, you'd rather do that than to like bring a traumatized child into the world.
I would like to hear Zuby's.
I actually have a question. Do you think that poor kids are less valuable than rich kids? Because, when you think about it, we're all rich because most people in all of human history have been, even poor people are richer than most people were in all of history.
I would say that that's definitely not true because I'm African. I know what it means to be poor and still be happy and still be privileged and blessed. What I do mean is, for example, there are people that are just not in the best state of mind or even in a relationship that could be supportive of bringing a healthy citizen into this world. And then if people don't have this sort of control, it gets to a stage where everybody's going to be messed up because their parents are making mistakes. At the end of the day, instead of us judging abortions, let's just first deal with sexual education, sexual discipline, and then we can avoid abortions. Other than that,
what do you mean?
We're talking about taking a human life here.
We're talking about taking control of something that actually hasn't got to that stage yet. It depends on how you feel about it. But
it's not feelings. You can sugarcoat it how you want. It's the taking of an innocent human life. Of course it is. That's literally what it is.
To an extent. It depends on how emotionally... It depends on
you can have your feelings about it. I'm just saying that's literally what it is. Let's move away from euphemisms and feelings. That is what it is.
Right. Can I just say something? Yes. To both women together. When I first came to the show, remember I said to you, there's not a situation that I haven't experienced. Remember I said that to you ages ago. Now, I was in a relationship. I was young. I was 16. And I wouldn't say I got put into a relationship, a very abusive relationship, and I had a child through grape. I was 17. I was on the pill. So 17, I couldn't say I had loads of money because I was still living at home. And as far as I'm concerned, I had my child. At 17 years old, no money, and I worked, and I kept my child. And when everybody keeps on talking about rape and abuse, yes, Pearl, I did report it. Right, had it down, injunctions and everything. I've still got my child. Everybody was against it because in those days I brought shame on the family. But nobody knew why I had my child. And to this day, I've still got one child because I was only able to have one child. And because I don't believe in abortion, and I was a foster carer, and I fostered and looked after 10 children as a single parent. And I don't care how poor you are, I don't care what situation you're in, unless your life is in danger, I still don't believe in abortion.
Can I say something
and
to you,
I was
Auntie?
on the pill.
There's a thing. There's certain people. It's just like a luck of the draw. There's people that are extremely blessed. That the situation, and they're actually blessed with a mother that will take care of you from whatever situation, make you be a wholesome human being, and show you all the love. On the flip side, there are people that then go on to abuse their children because they don't know any better. There are people that go to neglect their children because they're not in a supportive relationship or because they can't handle it. If you are real with your
because did you hear what I said? I said I was a foster carer. I was a foster carer, and I fostered 10 children. Those children you're talking about, and they had better lives for it.
Because you're a good person, they got lucky to have you.
And I only fostered children primary school age. So I had children that had been abused physically and sexually at that age. So nobody can't give me the excuse. I mean, that's your opinion. I'm giving you my experience. So as far as I'm concerned, if the care system that allows these women to have the children, that allows these women to have abortions, they also allow these children to have, that allow these women to have the children and hand them over to responsible people that will look after and nurture and care for those children rather than murder them.
Yeah.
Because people murder their children too often. And then those who don't get murdered, I look after. I look after, I raise, I nurture, and I look after them. And I'm sure there's African children, Indian children, white children out there that I've fostered that have been to university, being models and having good, stable lives because of me. So I'd rather, even at my age now, I would rather look after somebody else's child. I've looked after children that have been sexually abused at 2 and 3 years old. I have had them. And I'd rather have them knowing that I looked after them than they got murdered. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not these children, it's society. And if the people are messed up, people they're having sexual lessons and in school. They don't teach them parenting lessons, skills like cooking skills, managing money. And that's what the people need. Because there's no poverty. I'm going to be the one to say there's no poverty in England. England, you get paid to have children. It's the parents and the people that have the money that are mismanaging it. So rather than go out there and say, oh, this is a poor person, look at what they're doing. Manage their money. Because I guarantee you, those children who come from those households, look, the parents are smoking. They can afford to smoke. They can afford smart screen TV. They can afford jewelry. The children have got all the latest phones and tablets and everything. But yet they're going to say there's poverty because they have no food. They have no clothes. It's not to do with the government. It's to do with them managing their money. So as far as I'm concerned, no child deserves to be killed unless the mother's going to die.
May I say something, Auntie? I appreciate what you're saying. It's a very touchy topic because obviously it's sensitive. I believe that children, to me, are one of the purest things in the world. And if it gets to a stage where actually you have a choice, either terminate this life right here, right now, the energy is still in the world, the energy still exists, but terminate it now instead of playing with chance of letting a child go into the system and become an extremely wounded human being, I'd rather do the other. Because you'll go to a better place. The same way I believe in euthanasia is the same way I believe in abortion.
Oh gosh!
See, that's different because that's different.
It's not that different.
I don't believe in any form of murder.
Damn.
So that's why we're always going to differ. That's why we're always going to agree. Because
anyway,
Zuby finish. Yeah,
I answered your question, right? So
no. I wanted to hear the rest of what you had to say, Zuby. I didn't hear your opinion. Yeah, finish your opinion.
Yeah, well, like we wouldn't work, right? So that's the answer to the question. Very clearly, that's a complete moral misalignment.
That's why I said maybe to you.
It's a complete moral misalignment, right? Like everything you just said there, that's freaking horrifying to me.
Zuby, can I ask,
Right?
and I'm not disagreeing with you, Zuby, can I ask why you
can.
don't
Support killing people?
Yeah, no, well, I used to be a Crip, so I'm with you. But can I support why you don't? Can I? I just want to know. I don't get to talk to people that have always varying different opinions all the time.
Sure.
Because we live in echo chambers,
of course.
So I'm very interested, and not that I disagree. I'm very interested in why you don't believe in abortion outside of the killing people, because we kill people with tons of other things.
Sure.
But what is the thing about abortion?
Very simple. I think it is wrong to intentionally terminate an innocent human life.
Yeah.
Period.
That's it. That's
you see, if I
period.
If I had
I think it's a crime to corrupt an innocent human life.
Can
I just say, if I'd had an abortion, I would never have been able to have another child again, and I would have been childless. And I was on the pill.
But
so I would have never had a child again. And you know what?
Mm.
When I got pregnant, I actually told I had an old aunt, well, she was a, like auntie. And I went to her and I said to her, two people I told first, my stepdad and that aunt. And I went to her and I said, explained to her, I said, I'm pregnant. And she sat me down and she said, and this is in the old days, and she said, Jennifer, she said, I've been seeing this married man for years. And like when you get them women back in the day that was their woman, and she said, and I got pregnant. She goes, and he said to me, it's either me or the child. And this man was everything to her world, took her out, they went places. And she said, I decided to choose my child. And she said to me, when I was having the child, there were complications. And she said, I'll never be able to have another child. And she's only got one son. She goes to me, have your child. And exactly what happened to her happened to me. And I got the one child.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I can sympathize when I speak for.
I don't want sympathy.
I too was in a very complicated relationship. I'll put it as that. And I was in that same situation, and I chose to terminate. You know why? Because I said, listen, I would rather take that risk than to do that for my child, because this person is definitely not going to be a good father to my child. I already vetted the situation. And if it gets to a point where I can't have any children, I'll do an alternative. I will bless other souls and give my love and my energy to somebody that is not even my child. Regardless of whatever happens, whether I can have children or not, I'll still bless people. I'll still give love. I will still be able to be a mother. Even if biologically that was not meant to be my destiny. That's it. You can always find alternatives to things, but one thing that I believe that we should do is ensure that whatever energy we put into or whatever children we're raising, we're going to put them in a situation where they can be better human beings. Otherwise, society is going to whatever. That's why situations now are what they are. In England, it's very easy, like, for people to have children when they're teenagers. Look at how everybody is acting now. It's very easy because
the majority of abortions are not from teenagers.
No,
it's actually from women.
No, and what I'm saying is, in the UK, I think the UK is actually the country in Europe that has the highest rate of teenage pregnancy. And you can see actually how that's affecting society. There needs to be a certain way of controlling this type of I would say, unhealed, traumatized kind of DNA to keep passing on. If you're not ready to have a child and you can recognize that, you have a choice to either make the situations worse for you and affect an innocent child, or take the chance now and make it better. And if it means you don't have kids again, save somebody else's child, go foster, go adopt. There's too many people that are needing your love.
Why don't you give it up for adoption?
Because giving it up for adoption, you're putting your child in a situation where actually you can fall on either side of statistics. Either you're going to be with an angel person, or you're going to be with the devil that's going to physically abuse you, sexually abuse you, and put you into a system.
Why does your mind always go to like the worst possible scenario?
It goes on to both.
Like no, but I'm saying like
extreme.
I could think of many situations where adoption worked out really well.
Me too.
And like my mom got pregnant when she was 17, and she could have thought, my life was over, and she gave that kid up for adoption. He just got married. He has a kid now. He grew up with a completely different family.
Well, it's good. Ways. Yeah. And fortunately for you, see the good. Unfortunately, on my side, where actually, because I even from my demographic, where I come from, what I see and what is actually a lot of what I feel like is the masses, most of the people that I know that are in those situations come from very hard stories and backgrounds. And when they speak to me, I can see how damaged they are and how much pain they still feel now, because not everybody's even equipped to learn how to heal themselves. So it's either we're going to create this...
But they're alive.
But they're alive, but they're still suffering. And this is the thing.
They're alive.
For example, I'll give you an example. One of my sisters, she had a friend. Her parents abused her. Her stepdad sexually abused her. She was on drugs. She was 16. And actually, she had an accident and she died. And the friends were all very upset. And they were all really, really sad, and they cried and everything. But amongst them, they said, you know what? Actually, I feel like she's in a better place because this world was not treating her right. Her situation was making her more depressed. Some people are living by suffering. They're not living to live.
I think
Can I ask just quickly, are you religious?
I'm spiritual.
You're spiritual. I think that's a big part of it. I think what's happening now is, I don't know, Zubi, if you're religious.
We're both religious. That's
okay,
why,
so
yeah.
I'm religious, but my argument's not coming.
Right, but I'm not saying that it is. Zubi, I'm not saying, because I'm spiritual. I don't know what the fuck I am, but I'm not saying that it is. What I'm saying is, I think a big part of it is, a lot of times, like I don't believe in abortion, but I do not also think that I have the right to tell a woman what to do with her body.
So
what I think, not that you guys are this, but I think a big part of it is that a lot of times I have aunts and people who are very religious. Life is suffering to them. That's what is one of the things. And I think what you're arguing, no offense to you or anybody, I think is very different than what she's saying. I think it's very two different points. I agree with Zuby. I agree with Auntie for the most part, both of you guys. And I also agree with you, like I just said. But I think what you're getting at is from your personal experience in life and what you've been through and how you came out of that experience versus Auntie and Zuby and Pearl are coming from a different. Pearl's talking about she had a relative who was a sibling who was raised in a wonderful world because they were adopted. I think you're coming from your personal experiences of what you've seen,
there's
and not the
there's
overall
dark sides
global.
And there's good sides.
Yeah, of course, but that's life.
I'm not coming from any perspective of experience. I'm
no, not you, Zuby. I'm saying from
okay.
her. I'm saying not you. I'm just saying in general.
I don't think it's a religious thing either.
No, it's not a religious thing. I'm just saying in my head, I just want to know if she would say she was spiritual religious because